99% of the dollars in Marion County stay in Marion County, and then 85 cents of every dollar goes to direct services. So that's a little bit about just the breakdown of our United Way here. Any questions on that? Okay, next slide, please. All right, so these are our three main focus areas. And before I really dive into those, I'm gonna kick it over to Jessica. She's gonna talk about how the vision councils play into this and our funded partners and how they kind of all three kind of go into each other.
Sure, thank you, Kirsten. So many of you, you guys know that we focus on the three main pillars of health, education, and financial stability, and everything that we do has to fall under one of those. Furthermore, though, our vision councils are groups of volunteers that are experts in these three fields. And so these groups of volunteers do community needs assessments every year and identify what are the critical issues that our community is currently facing. The example that I'd like to share with you all is the literacy rates of third grade students. So right now we know 54% of third graders are not reading on level here in Marion County. What that means is that early intervention is really important, but also reducing the barriers for children to be able to have success within the classroom. Because a child sitting in, let's say, first grade, right? So still early enough where you could get in early intervention, make sure, you could have the best teacher in the world working with that student, but if that student is being physically or sexually abused at home, if they're coming to school with an empty belly or sitting in the classroom with a toothache or can't see the board, these are barriers that that child is facing outside of the classroom that's going to impact how they perform within. And so we're looking at this giant issue here in Marion County, literacy rates, and this is something that one agency cannot begin to tackle alone, and it really demonstrates the beauty of United Way and how we pull our resources and agencies and businesses together to address a critical issue. And so with that, obviously under education, you could have dental screenings. I know Heather James is here and they provide dental services to youth over at Heart of Florida Health Center. And they actually receive an education grant, even though it seems like it would be a health related grant, because they're reducing the barriers of that child. It's impacting how they're performing in school. So technically it's an education type grant, even though it's health related services. So just a little bit about how we fund certain agencies, and they have to be very specific on, they can't just say, well, I provide education or health services. They have to be identifying one of those target issues that, again, collectively are making a significant impact in helping to change that issue that we're facing as Marion County. So in your handouts, you can see, if you're looking at the PDF, which I am right now, it's page 19 and 20, where you have those three buckets. The internal initiatives are kind of, their logos are listed at the top, and Kirsten will talk about those. But then underneath that are all of the partners that we worked with for 2019, 2020, because it's a 2-year funding cycle, but sometimes we do change if an agency is not living up to what they say that they're going to do in the grant process. Funding can be pulled. And so while we had selected some agencies for 2018, 2020, a few of them dropped off, and we actually ended up reallocating that funding to other partners and other programs. But this is a demonstration of where those dollars went, and with the dollars that were raised last year, how that broke down into services. But underneath that, we're actually very excited to announce our 2020-2022 partners. We were finalizing these decisions. The Vision Council volunteers were finalizing all of this in the height of COVID. And so it made it a little bit more stressful than normal for them to review all of the applications. And I can tell you the grant application for funded partners really does stack up to state and federal level grants. The reporting that the agencies have to do on a quarterly basis is quite intense. But the reason that we do that is because we want to ensure that the dollars that are being raised within your workplaces are not only providing direct services, but are continuously making a positive impact here in our community. In this listing of our new funded partners, a lot of historic partners that we've funded ever since 1961, and way back in the day when we were first established. But we do actually have some new programs, 3 new programs under existing partners, including the Boys and Girls Club, Kimberly Center, and the Early Learning Coalition has a new program this year. And then we have 3 new partners, the Centers and the Pearl Project, which focus on mental health, so continuing to increase our support in that arena. And then also His Compassion, which is a mobile food delivery service, to kind of help break down those barriers for folks that don't have transportation to get to where there may be, you know, food or a soup kitchen available to them. So really excited about the new list and, you know, the partners that we have here in our community. But that's something that we will share during kickoffs with all of you. And that's kind of how we make our funding decisions in the traditional sense of the old school United way, raising funds and then reallocating them back out into the community. But then, of course, we also have our internal initiatives, which I'll kick back to Kirsten to cover now.
All right. And if you guys want in your packet, I'm going to be kind of addressing this page. Those are, has 3 of our internal initiatives on there. First, with education, we start with Reading Pals, and this really addresses early literacy issues in our elementary schools. So this program is in 19 schools throughout Marion County, and it is helping kindergarteners with their early literacy. So a volunteer, a Reading Pal volunteer, would go in for an hour or 2 hours a week, depending on what they can, but it would be a half hour with 2 students. So they would read to one student for a half hour and then read to a different one for a half hour, so that we can make sure we're really getting in touch with all the students that need the help. This program not only helps with early literacy, but it helps with their children's social and emotional development. It helps with mentorship. It's important. I forget if Jessica mentioned it, but 54% of 3rd graders aren't reading at grade level. And that's when they stop learning to read and begin to read to learn. So it's really important, and this is a great thing if your associates can't give dollars. This is a great way to give their time back into the community.
I'd also like to make a quick comment too, because I've shared it at a couple of kickoffs at various businesses, and it was something that I've done my own research, but it was actually confirmed by Alexander, who is the chief of fire for Ocala Fire here in Marion County, that they are looking at 3rd grade reading levels today to determine how many jail cells that they're building in 10 years time. So the importance of that reading statistic not only impacts the education and how those students will succeed later on in life, but how it will impact us as a community. Because if these students are not, you know, keeping up with their peers, they're going to struggle to graduate high school. They're going to struggle to get a degree or a certificate of some kind, and they probably will struggle to be, you know, participating citizens, I guess, of our community, because they're not going to be able to get well-paying jobs and be able to take care of their family and the health care of their family. So it really is kind of this vicious cycle that we see in Marion County. And we do know that 1 in 5 adults cannot read above a 5th grade level. And so when you think about a student going home asking mom and dad to help them with their homework, it's now becoming a generational issue where mom and dad can't even help that child, and then it just continues that pattern on and on. So it's just an interesting statistic to look at. And I know that Kirsten has a few more things to cover under education, but really how that statistic is close to the ALICE that I'll talk about here in a minute as well.
All right, and the next one under education is our Success by 6. And this program is really, it goes towards the parents. So it's making the parents the child's first teacher. And the hope of this program is that children have a really good education, physical, social, and emotional foundation at the age of 6 going into starting their education in like grade school. So it really helps with parents, giving them seminars and resources and tools that they can use to help their children at home succeed. Before I get into financial stability, I'm going to have Jess go back and cover Alice, which she just talked about.
Yeah, and so in your packet, we actually have the updated press release and the updated statistics that rolled out early spring of this year. And so we're still running a 51% of ALICE population. And for those of you who have never heard of ALICE, it stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained Employed, keyword being employed. So this is the working poor here in our community. And we know that over half of Marion County is struggling and living paycheck to paycheck. They're barely making ends meet. This group or this population does not have any type of emergency savings accounts. And we know that if they were to have a situation, an unanticipated expense of $300 or more, so a car breaks down or a medical bill stacks up because they have to go to urgent care and they don't have really good insurance, or a car engine blows up, $300 or more, and this population, over half of our community, statistically, would not be able to pay for rent, food, or keep the lights on in their house the next month. Here in Marion County, and you can dive into these statistics a little bit more, and they have a really, really engaging online website now, which is fantastic. And if any of you write grants or anything like that, really helpful information that I would encourage you to kind of click around in there. The information is in that press release. But we know that in Marion County, based on a survival budget for a family of 4, folks in our community make about 25% less than what it actually costs to live here. So that's obviously an ongoing issue where the cost of living continues to increase, but wages don't match what that survival budget is calling for. And so when we look at what we do in financial stability from a Vision Council perspective and from a funded partners perspective, we are definitely looking at this statistic and how it's trending and making sure that we're supporting families not only in basic needs, so housing, utilities, food, but that we're also giving them the tools that they need to be able to get out of this kind of position where they're just living paycheck to paycheck and floating bills forward and never really feeling secure from a financial perspective. And that's really where this Strong Families program came from, which again is just another great representation of what we do at United Way, which is working with various partners. And we would not be able to host this program without all of those awesome partners that make it happen. And I know Kirsten will go through that here in a little bit, but definitely something that we're keeping an eye on and making sure that we're breaking down the generational tendencies that are continuing to happen with the ALICE population. So that's really where Strong Families was born, and Kirsten will cover that program.
All right, so Strong Families, this was a program that was created at the United Way of Marion County, and it's only at our United Way of Marion County. This is a 15-week skill building session for families to hopefully increase their income, decrease their debt, get some form of education, whether it be getting their GED, getting into college courses, hopefully getting them into stable housing. They get a case manager through the whole year. It doesn't just end with that 15 weeks of skill building. They will go a whole year with a case manager and just doing mentorship and just keeping track of, how they're doing and if they are really using the tools and everything they gained during those skill building sessions. Also during those 15 weeks, they get meals provided to them, and they also have childcare provided during their classes so that there's no distraction and they can focus on really making the most of the Strong Families program. That's a really good one as well to have your employees utilize if they know somebody or then themselves could benefit from that program.
And I would say the best statistic on that flyer, you can see the full list of our partners for that program, but really the success and kind of some examples of those skill building sessions that Kirsten mentioned. But my favorite statistic is that out of all of the household incomes, that we are increasing the household income by 47% on average for all of our graduates. So almost doubling the income of a family. And so when we talk about 25% less, they're making 25% less than what it costs to live here. They're not only making that up, and now they're able to actually save with that additional 20% or so. So it's working, and we want to encourage you all to share this information with your employees, because we are actually recruiting for class 9 currently all the way through the end of the month. And there's more information on how to get kind of tapped into our case managers and get signed up on that flyer.
All right, we also have our Vita program, which is the voluntary income tax assistance. So this is during tax season. Anybody and everyone is welcome to get their taxes done for free by volunteers that are trained with all the IRS stuff, but they set up in different hubs around Marion County, and you can go and get your taxes done for free. This is something we want you guys to utilize and really tell your associates about, so they're not, you know, shoveling money out to get their taxes done. They're keeping money in their pocket and getting their taxes done. A big thing to stress on this though, and we'll talk about 211 right after this, but when this comes out and you can make your appointment, they call 211 to do that. And you want to stress to them, do it as soon as this becomes available, because appointments really fill up fast and it gets pretty busy. So if they want to get their taxes done on the earlier side of it, really tell them, hey, once you can sign up, make your appointment, do it. That plays into 211, which is our referral and service hotline. And this is free. This is the first call. If you don't have to call 911, if it's not a 911 emergency, you call 211. It's a live person, 24 hours, 7 days a week. They can get you in contact with agencies and different programs that possibly could help you with whatever situation you're calling about. And then they also are individuals that are trained to handle any form of like a suicide situation. If something were to escalate to that, they are trained for that as well. And last year we did more than 25,000 calls, texts, and chats from Marion County residents. So we covered a lot of people here in Marion County through that service. April, next slide. All right, so this is a little overview of all of the United Ways. So we have 1,800 local community-based United Ways worldwide, and we are in 40 plus countries and territories. So this is where that 1% comes into play. That 1% allows us to use the United Way logo. It gives our staff members training opportunities throughout the year. And it also gives us access to best practices and really how we can make sure that we're doing our job the best way possible, and then presenting that to anybody who needs that information. This is also how we can have access to the GCLs. So these are our global corporate leaders. So Publix, UPS, FedEx, Regions, a lot of banks that are corporate. We only get access to them because we pay that 1%. Those corporations make up about $500,000 of our annual revenue. So if we didn't give that 1% to United Way worldwide, we would lose those dollars directly here in Marion County. They would go to the next closest United Way that is tapped into United Way worldwide, and that's Lake and Sumner. So then between Lake and Sumner and Marion County, those dollars would be dispersed. So by just paying that 1%, we're keeping that $500,000+ right here in Marion County, going to direct services and going to help the community here directly. So it's really worth it. So if you ever get any pushback on that, that's something to really bring up. That 1% is really worth it to keep those dollars here in Marion County.
And to kind of go off of that a little bit more, just so you all are aware too, that when Kirsten's talking about those dollars being reallocated to a different community, that's already covering 2 other counties. So they would actually cover 3 counties. And so that $500,000 isn't necessarily just because it's raised in Marion County doesn't mean that those dollars would then be reallocated back to Marion County. It would be up to those vision councils within that United Way to determine how those dollars are spent. And so while we have a list of 27 agencies that we are funding here in Marion County, there's no telling how many agencies would actually continue to receive funding. So that 1% really is critical to making sure that here in Marion County, all the dollars raised here are staying here.
Thank you. April, next slide, please. All right, so since most of you have been at ECC before, you've probably seen this, and if you haven't, you've probably seen it too, or heard false things about the United Way or what people say about it. A big one being that we give to Planned Parenthood. That's not true. We only give to 501c3s that are here in Marion County. That is not one. So therefore, no dollars go to the Planned Parenthood. We don't have that in Marion County. Also, that's like our salaries, or our CEO's salary is, crazy, like they're making like $1 million a year or whatever. That more goes towards like the United Way Worldwide CEO, which, I mean, he has a lot of United Ways to cover, so it makes a little bit of sense, but our salaries here, we're very transparent. We make them shareable if people want to know them. We are a 4-star charity with Charity Navigator, both for transparency and overhead. So we make that known to the public if they want it. And yeah, we don't give to Planned Parenthood. That's a big one that you will see pushback on. So you can say that in your kickoffs if that does come up, which ones that I've been a part of, just myself, they have. So just something for you guys to really be aware of.
And the other pushback that we get quite a lot, and the reason that we're covering this is because you all will be in charge of running the campaign. So even if we come and we present and maybe an employee doesn't bring up some of these points to us directly, if they're not comfortable, they may come to you. So we wanted you all to be armed with this information as well, and to be able to kind of clear up any misconceptions that they may have of United Way. But the other pushback that we get quite a lot is the overhead. I can tell you from a governmental perspective, 501c3s are required to maintain a 25% or less overhead. The fact that we're running a 15% is just absolutely phenomenal. We haven't seen an overhead that low in many, many years, because again, I mean, what Kirsten and I do here in the community is to fundraise for not only our community care fund, which allows us to provide grants to those 27 different programs here in Marion County, but we're also fundraising for 69 agencies here in Marion County, because on our pledge forms, we allow our community members to designate to any 501c3 providing health and human services here in Marion County. And so we truly are the boots on the ground and the voices for every agency, and allowing people to kind of filter their dollars in a way that's meaningful for them to give back. But that overhead is something that always comes up. And so we can tell you that 1% that goes to United Way Worldwide is wrapped into that 15%. Fundraising also makes up about 7 to 8% of that 15%. So really, when you look at overhead, it's about a 7% administrative overhead, with fundraising making up that other 8%. But you can honestly say that 85 cents of every dollar is going to direct services here in Marion County, which a lot of nonprofits can't say that. So just something to be aware of.
All right, thank you, Jess. And I'm actually going to throw it over to you to talk about the different ways, besides workplace campaign, that we have revenue brought into.
Sure. Next slide, please, April. So United Way of Marion County traditionally focused mainly on workplace giving. And so that's obviously the traditional, and that's why you all are here with us today, because that does make up about 80% of our total annual revenue. Kirsten kind of already talked about the GCL accounts in our top 25. That makes up 73% of the total dollars raised within workplaces. So in your packet, you have a list of those top 25s, and also the DISC awards. grants as well, and a lot of you actually qualify for those. And so because we weren't able to see you all in person, expect those in the mail. Hopefully they're big, you can't miss them. But the other thing that we do is residential donors. So folks that have either left the workplace for retirement, or a lot of our major donors being the Toteville level that give $10,000 a year or more fall within that residential kind of stream of revenue. And then of course, special events. You guys probably have heard of our Women United group and the Blingo Bingo and the lip sync. And so those special events that we do every year, that's another revenue stream for us. But grants is really where we've grown as an organization. Reading Pals is funded primarily by not only special events from the Women United. Women United contributes about $20,000 a year to make that program run, but we also receive a Carol and Barney Barnett Foundation grant to make that happen. The Vita program is an IRS grant. And so even the Success by Six and our 211 is funded through our endowment. And so those are restricted gifts, typically through the residential revenue stream. But in Reading Pals and Strong Families, we do not, when we fundraise out in the community and when we're with you all, unless somebody specifically designates those dollars, we as staff are actually responsible for raising additional dollars outside of the workplace giving to support those internal initiatives. So it does not take away from our community grants. It's just something that we've then been able to actually diversify our revenue, which is fantastic. Next slide, April, please. And so last year was a phenomenal year. It was kind of one of those things that, I mean, Jim Henningsen, Dr. Henningsen from the College of Central Florida was our annual giving chair last year. He was very dynamic and phenomenal. We had a fantastic team of folks. We hit our $2 million mark, and that was the first time that we've hit it in about 6 years. It's a 10% increase compared to 2018. And with those additional dollars, we were able to increase our funding to our agencies by 4.5%, which is why we're able to have 3 new funded partners on that roster this year. So not only do we provide the 25 community grants, we're serving 90 families a year in the Strong Families program, providing 2,500 tax returns at no cost to anybody here in our community. Our Reading Pals has doubled in the amount of students, because Kirsten mentioned how we're splitting our time and utilizing the volunteers' time a little bit more wisely to double the amount of students that we're reading with. Success by Six continues to impact many, many families, 250 here in our community. 25,000 phone calls, texts, and online chats. And I actually got an updated number that it's 27,000. So that continues to increase, and I'm sure it will continue to go up, as 211 was kind of our filter for COVID-19. I'm sure some of you have heard, and this is something to share back in your workplaces, but United Way of Marion County established an assistance fund for COVID-19 to help pay for rent, mortgage, and utilities assistance during this time. We committed, the board of directors did, $150,000 to that fund, and then that was then, well, we had individual and corporate donations that added on to that to total $205,000. That fund has been exhausted. But we know, and we have just gotten word actually, that we will be receiving additional dollars to help continue providing those services during this time, as you know, the pandemic continues, and we don't really know if there is an end in sight right now, but people are still struggling. A lot of people are still out of work or furloughed, and so that continues to be an ongoing need for our community. You know, some other fun things that happened, fun things, right, during COVID-19, nothing was really fun about it, but we were the only United Way in Florida. Kimberly Clark Cottonelle decided that they were going to give 1 million rolls of toilet paper. You probably saw the commercials on TV where it was Share a Square. And we were the only United Way in Florida to receive a shipment from Cottonelle, over 74,000 rolls of toilet paper that came into Marion County, and with the help of Interfaith and a lot of surrounding counties, they came in and we helped disperse that toilet paper. You know, we joked during a previous training that it was currency. Toilet paper was during COVID-19 along with hand sanitizer, but I don't think that a lot of folks understood really the impact that that was having on some of the basic needs. So I heard from Carla Grimsley over at Interfaith that there were shelters here in Marion County and surrounding counties that were 1 day away, literally 1 day away from shutting down and having to kick all of those individuals out of their shelter, and they would have become homeless because they did not have toilet paper to continue providing services for the folks that were living there. And so it really came at the perfect time, but we were blessed to be selected as that United Way, the kind of that hub, so to speak, during COVID-19. And then of course, we also continue to work with Interfaith, and we provided $15,000 to service workers who had lost their job in the restaurant and hotel industry, that during the first week of shutdown, school lunch dependent students, there were 3 days that they did not know, Marion County school system did not know how these students were going to be fed. And it really does break your heart when you think that these kids otherwise would have had nothing to eat. And so we did an emergency food drive here in Marion County, and we were able to feed all of those 4,000 students. And then the workers that we were providing salaries for from our board of directors commitment, they were the ones that actually helped distribute and organize all of that food that was collected. So we continue to look for holes and needs in our community. So if any of you know of anything, please share that with us. But we continue to just monitor the situation and make sure that we're at the front line providing services during this time. And speaking of crisis, you know, FEMA, typically everybody thinks emergency disaster funds. This is the food and shelter program that we receive grants annually. And we actually it's an application process for local shelter and food providers. So whether it's a soup kitchen or a food pantry. And so 10 agencies in Marion County receive funds to just continue to operate because of their basic needs. So in total, we were able to provide over 101,000 direct services here in Marion County because of everybody's contributions last year, which is just absolutely phenomenal. So thank you all for your effort. Next slide, please, April. We, because of COVID-19, are being virtual. Obviously, we would have loved to see all of your beautiful faces in person today, but that is just not something that is appropriate at this time. And so same with our annual meeting, which is typically held in August. So we have the date scheduled for August 12th from 11 to noon. It will be a Facebook Live event. Mark Vianello, who is now the Assistant Superintendent for Marion County, is our annual giving chair this year. And so he will be helping us to host this live event. And don't worry, it will not be like this. We're just talking heads the whole time. It will be very fun and interactive, and we hope that you will join us. But check out our Facebook page and make sure that you sign up. Next slide, please, April. Campaign best practices. So in this, I'm going to try to make it so I can see this a little bit better. Hold on one second for me, guys. So best practices of running a campaign are really broken down into 8 steps. And in your packet, we have your campaign guide that ideally we would have had printed out and handed to you all. But this is something that I wanted to review with you guys today. So I'm going to actually share my screen in this PDF so you can see what I'm looking at as we move through best practices. So hopefully it's fun. Technology is fun. So obviously the very front, it's a wonderful quote by Winston Churchill. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. And so, you know, we talk about the importance of sharing with you all best practices and providing you with the tools and the resources you need to run a successful campaign within your workplaces. But we truly could not do this without all of your help and your support and your commitment. So we're just so grateful for what you are doing for us within your workplaces. But we want to make sure that we are helping you, that we're going to be your best resources. We believe in teamwork. We know that together we can make an impact, and we want to make it simple for you all by providing you with all of these tools. And so of course within this, we talk about this packet. There's donor benefits. Kirsten will get into this a little bit later on after we hear from Michael Bloom at the city, but there's examples of increasing your participation, incentive examples within this, ideas to implement for increased participation. Fun engagement ideas. So best practices is that you roll out your pledge forms first. You invite us as United Way to come out with your ambassador and maybe a guest speaker, and we kind of kick things off with you all. Once pledge forms have been collected is when we really start to have some fun with you all in rolling out these special event ideas, providing volunteer and engagement opportunities. But these are some fun examples of things that you can do. We do have resources online, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, and Kirsten will go through all of these, but even this 10 days of email, that's a copy and paste from this PDF. We're gonna make this even simpler for you all this year, so I'm excited to share that later on in the presentation, but this is really where we get into it, where it's the 8 steps for leading an effective workplace campaign. So when we talk about involving your top management, we could have already met with your CEO, or maybe we haven't yet, to be honest. And so it's really kind of gauging where we stand. Obviously, it being July right now, we typically would have wrapped up our CEO calls with your top management and your leadership teams by now. But with COVID-19, we are seeing that we're delayed a little bit. So once we've received some goals and that endorsement from your CEO, that's when you'll be getting a phone call or an email from our ambassadors that sit on our campaign cabinet to make sure that all of that information has been handed back down to you. But after the CEO has that meeting with us and our leadership, we want to make sure that they're staying engaged through the campaign, and maybe that they can attend the kickoff to endorse the campaign with the employees in person. Sometimes it's important to recruit help. So if you're a workplace of over 100 to 200 people, it's a smart idea to bring in some assistance to help you, because I mean, you all are doing your actual jobs, and then you're being voluntold, to add this on their duties as assigned. And so, getting other people engaged and involved, and that also helps with longevity of the campaign and what that handoff may look like in the future. And especially when we talk about developing leadership giving, which is number 4, I'll go back to 3, don't worry. But when we talk about leadership giving, if you're going to have an effort on that, it's really a peer-to-peer ask situation, which is the most effective. But it's important to have a team to help you execute that. But once you do have a goal or a theme for the year, that goal typically comes from the CEO, but it could be anything from a dollar goal for your entire campaign, including pledges and special events, which is what the city of Ocala does every year, or you can look at a participation goal. So do you just want every single person to give, even if it's a $1 one-time thing, because you want 100% participation across the board? And how will you actually set those goals and make it an attainable thing to accomplish? With leadership giving, Lockheed Martin does a really great job with this. As an example, they actually host a leadership breakfast where those that have been tapped, or maybe they're kind of up and coming in the ranks, and that they're kind of being monitored at stepping into a leadership position in the near future, they're all invited to this breakfast, where it is a peer-to-peer ask, and they're explained, that the giving starts at the top and works its way down, and it's easier to encourage participation from all of the employees when the leader of that department is already giving, especially at a leadership level. It comes with its own perks, including networking, but in addition to that, it really is the folks that have the capacity to give at this level, who are C-suite level executives, that want to give in a substantial way to their community. But once that breakfast is done at Lockheed Martin, those who give, they actually receive a co-branded polo that they get to wear on Fridays during Gene Day, and it's a very visible representation that they're a leadership donor. And then they have a lunch for those who did give after the campaign wraps up, kind of as a thank you, where the CEO comes in and hosts that reception to acknowledge those leadership donors. So they do a really great job, but it is a team of people that participate with those peer-to-peer asks. Let me tell you guys something. The majority of the folks that don't give is because they have no idea that the United Way campaign is going on, and nobody asked them to give. So making sure that you're promoting and publicizing that you're in the middle of a United Way campaign is very important, and we have the tools to be able to allow you to do that in an easy way. But displaying your posters in break rooms, in the HR, in the hallway, keeping updates on when are pledge forms due, when are you running special events, and just making sure that you're communicating to an all staff and keeping United Way top of mind as you run through. We want to make sure that when you finally launch your campaign, that you have a specific date that you want to do that, but that you also have a specific time frame of when you want it to end. We don't want this happening for 3-4 months throughout the year. Best practices show that a campaign that lasts for about a month is more effective. Once those pledge forms go out, if they're sitting on somebody's desk and they haven't turned it in by the end of the month, chances are by month 2 or 3, they're still not going to turn that pledge form in. Okay, so there's no need to drag it out. I think when we talk about kicking things off, sometimes we have to do for Publix, for instance. We do 72 presentations for Publix at all of their stores. There's 11 stores here in Marion County, and we meet pretty much with every single employee at Publix in Marion County in small group presentations, and we do that within a 2-week period. Really, it's like a weekend, but it ends up trickling out into about 2 weeks. So we're committed to being there with you and your staff. If it's something that you want to do those micro kickoffs with every department. I'll let Michael Bloom talk a little bit more about what we do with the city of Ocala in particular, but we are committed to being there and making sure that it's an efficient kickoff and that we're meeting with every single employee, but that you're communicating to the employees when are pledge forms due and to who do they turn them into, because that is the logistics seem to get lost sometimes during kickoff, and that's one of the main things to make sure that is happening. When you go to wrap up and report results, obviously once pledge forms have been collected, feel free to have all the fun in the world doing bake sales and jean days and chili cook-offs and whatever you want to do to continue to raise funds for your community. But once pledge forms have been collected, please make sure that a copy of all of the pledge forms get to HR so they can start payroll. As a friendly reminder, even if we come out in July and we kick off your campaign in July, pledges do not start coming out of payroll deduction until January 1st, 2021. And so while a lot of people, we're expecting some pushback at our presentations from people about COVID-19 and if they're not able to give, chances are if people are already giving, it's already coming out of their paycheck and it hasn't stopped coming out of their paycheck. And so we're not necessarily asking for them to increase if they're not at the position to be able to do so, but to just continue to give to support our community. Because again, if we were to lose any of our top 25 accounts, or if we were to lose a major campaign, it would honestly be detrimental to the community and to the funded partners that we support through their programming. And a lot of our agencies rely on United Way funding, not only to operate, but to be that match on a local level to their state and federal level grants that they're receiving for their services as well. So please make sure that any kind of pushback you're sharing with us so we can address it as it's happening, especially with COVID-19 and not really knowing what this year will look like. But as long as payroll deductions start in January, just please make sure that the copy of the pledge form is getting to HR. We had a few that didn't happen last year. So you will be receiving a reporting envelope, so that can be all of your pledge forms can go in there, your special event dollars, and then contact either your United Way representative, meaning your volunteer ambassador, or a United Way staff member to come and pick up the envelope. Please do not drop it in the mail. It will get lost. And we don't want money to be lost in the mail. So, and personal information as well. One step that, sorry, I didn't turn off my phone. One step that tends to not happen is the thank and the celebration. I mean, we really want to be able to say thank you to employees and to continue to engage with your company throughout the year. So even though we're having a very specific time frame of where we're kicking things off, we want to make sure that we're being a good partner to you all all year long. And Kirsten will talk about that again, being a partner choice here in a little bit. But when we go into breakout sessions, what I want you all to focus on is getting this form filled out. So we actually take all of these 8 steps here up above and break it down into what information you're needing to gather for each of these 8 steps. And so this is something that you can complete with your ambassador during the breakout sessions here in a little bit. But really, I think the most important thing is to have fun, to make sure that we're giving the information to the employees, not only about how their dollar is going to make a difference in our community, but the services that are available to them here in Marion County. I know that April's getting ready to start sharing her screen again with us. But I just want to make sure I take the time that if anybody has any questions about best practices, especially if you're newer with United Way, that we open that up for questions right now live. You can unmute yourself if anybody has any questions. I don't see anybody kind of unmuting themselves. So with that being said, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat box. But I know Michael Bloom is here with us at the City of Ocala. So April, thank you. And he just popped on. So I will go ahead and spotlight you, Mike, and you can go ahead and take it away.
All right, thank you. Hello, everybody. So I'm with the City of Ocala, and we've been able to grow our campaign over the past couple of years. And I just want to provide a quick insight into what our mindset is behind the campaign and how we've been able to be so successful. So if you can go ahead and flip to the next slide. So basically, we looked at the campaign and said it's a big pass the hat. We are asking people to donate money to us, and we set a goal for that, and then we have to go and figure out how we're going to accomplish that goal. And so some of these slides were set up for being the in-person, so it's not going to have the same impact being on this webinar. So next slide. So basically, if you keep it brief, it's time to pass that hat. The money's going to the community and leave it like that. You may be more at the bottom of the screen where you're kind of tugging at people to get that money to flow in. Whereas if you make it easy for them, they may just be willing to donate and give that money to United Way, and you're going to hit your goal and far exceed it. Next slide. So with that, you just got to break down the barriers, and each entity is going to have its own barriers. You just have to figure out what those are within your business or organization to be able to break those down. So next slide. We kind of hit on this one, and this was just a quick Google search. You've probably seen this picture before in some variation. But United Way is a criminal organization, so you're going to get many excuses. United Way's this, United Way's that, and you hit on some of those, barriers that you have to overcome from the United Way perspective. If you flip to the next slide, we as the city, we have a bunch of excuses as well. So in 2012, the city, or before 2012, we had a pension for employees, and that was changed from a council decision, affected employees in their retirement, and I get it upset a lot of people. But when we run our campaign today, we still get, well, the city took my pension away, I'm not going to be willing to help out. So you have to figure out, all right, they're not going to fill out a pledge form, but is there another avenue that they can give, and it still impacts the United Way and the goal that we're trying to achieve. Next slide. So again, you don't want your barrier or your campaign to look like this slide. Break down those barriers. Don't make it a hurdle. Don't make it a hassle for people to be able to give to the United Way. Give them different options. Next slide. With that, you've got to build trust with your employees. It's not just the form shows up in an inbox or lands on a desk. You've got to be personal. People have to trust you and know that the money's going to make it to United Way. It's going to have that impact. Again, we hit on, you got to make it easy for your employees. Give them different options to give. Make it easy. Don't make it something hard that they're going to have to seek you out to donate. And build that credibility. Make sure that they understand the impact that it's having. And you hit on it a little bit. Make sure you celebrate the successes. When we meet our goal, if we're close to our goal, thank them. Just give a quick blurb, give an update. Let them know where you're at and what's going on. Next slide. So basically, you're becoming a salesman for United Way. You've got to inform these people what United Way is about, and that's what the rest of the slides that United Way is covering. You got to understand what United Way is and be able to head off any of those concerns, break the barriers down, but then talk about the good that United Way is doing. So you've got to sell United Way and get people engaged so that they're willing to give. You can skip 2 slides just because we're not as interactive, but it's a competition. Sorry, back up one. It's a competition. So you are competing with everybody's budget. They have personal commitments. Everybody, is going to have a mortgage, a rent payment, something of that nature, utilities, groceries, transportation, kids, then charity preferences. Maybe United Way is not the first preference, but then you look at where all can they give to. Maybe one is already a partner of United Way, and you can kind of lead them in that direction. Maybe they're giving outside of the pledge form, they're giving to a United Way agency, but you can direct them on the pledge form, and then that's counting for your campaign. So understand that it's a competition. So you've got to be able to sell United Way and ask people to give in a way that they're going to be willing to. Next slide. So again, the pledge form is basically a pass the hat. If it's just, here's your form, please give, you may not have as much of an impact. How can you dress that up so that people are willing to? Next slide. So this is where we really get into the city aspect. So if you're not aware, we've got fire, police, electric utility, water, public works, office settings. We've got a wide variety, a lot of personalities. So it's not a one size fits all approach. We have a department of 5 people. We have a department of 100 people. Some departments, everybody gives 100%, and we don't even have a kickoff meeting. They've been through the drill. They understand what's going on. And it's a leadership thing of the director saying, hey, just let me have my forms. I'll talk to my people, and we get 100% of the forms back, and everybody donates. Other ones, police department, they've gone and they've done other special events, but it's kind of a push. It's not as easy. So just understanding the dynamic and the personalities of who you're asking to give is going to help you out as well. Next slide, which we kind of covered this, but again, all the personalities understand who you're selling the United Way to and how you can get that back. Also realizing what talents they can bring to help out your organization or your campaign, because we don't just rely on the pledge forms. That's a large part of it, but each one of these has their own area that they're able to provide a special event for. Next slide. So again, more interactive. How many people love going to work every day? May not get many hands, but what's better than going to work is not being at work. So if you go to the next slide, we've tried to incentivize the pledge forms. So based on how much you give, we did PTO certificates. People could win time off. So that was a commitment by our management, city manager, to say, look, we appreciate what you're doing. We can't reward everybody, but we can offer this. And the more you give, the more opportunity you have to get some time off. Next slide. So we've looked at, all right, let's try and make it easy. What are some things that people do each and every day that we can try to affect and maybe impact our campaign with? So if you go to the next slide, everybody gets dressed and everybody eats, or at least I hope so. So with that, we've done different things. If you go to the next slide, we do casual Thursdays. Normally Friday's dress down day anyways, so we sell Thursdays. You can wear jeans on Thursday, and that's for us an easy $2,000 to $3,000 a year just to be able to wear jeans an extra day of the week. Our folks are great cooks. Fire department does a chili sale every year. Our electric utility does boiled peanuts, sells ribs. We have departments doing bake sales, hot dog lunches, but everybody's got to eat. So if you make it easy for them, hey, there's lunch right outside my door, $10. It may not be a huge impact, but over the course of the campaign, this all adds up to probably about $5,000 to $10,000, depending on the campaign year and what all we offer. So again, knowing your audience and knowing what people are after can truly have an impact on your campaign. Next slide. We've got folks that have been very creative. OPD has a car show. I think last year was the second one that they held, but they did $3,500 from that, and we were hoping to continue to grow it, and hopefully there's a way that we can again this year. But finding different ways to engage people and folks that may not even be in your organization. We've done online bingo, so just drawing numbers, announcing them every day. That was the first time we did it last year. It was pretty popular, and engaged office folks and brought everybody together in a way that we haven't done so before. Our growth management department, they had a haunted house at one of the, I think the courtyard downtown. So again, got the citizens involved, which not every business is going to have this opportunity, but just outside the box, and it was a way to bolster our campaign. Go to the next slide. So this was supposed to have some pictures. We talked about the thank you at the end. Just imagine a carnival type setting, but we do that for our employees. And basically we take, at the end of the campaign, 4 hours, each department contributes something. We've had mini golf, paintball, pie tosses. We've got food. Employees give it this, and it's 1 day, 4 hours, and we get $3,500 to $4,000 from this, but it's just a nice relaxing day for employees can come out, management can thank them, but we're still getting money back towards our campaign. So it's a thank you, but it's also a huge part of our campaign as well. But this slide also, if you go to the next slide, what are some unique ideas that have been successful for you? And I would ask, and I'm not sure if anybody wants to speak up, but what are ideas that maybe you guys have done that you haven't seen with other campaigns or that have been successful, just to try and share those ideas so that we can expand and we can all be successful together? So does anybody have something they've done or their business has done that's worked well for them? Jessica, you probably have some idea or an example.
Yeah, of course. Cody, I think, is going to share something now.
Yeah, so coffee is really big in our office. So we actually determined an amount for donations so that if you donate so much money, you're going to get coffee from Dignity Roasters. And the staff really loved it, and all the staff that actually did win the coffee, they ended up donating it to our break room. So we all had free coffee for like 2 or 3 months.
Awesome. And I love coffee. I've been drinking it quite a bit. You know, we see a lot of creativity from a lot of our different businesses, but I think to your point, Mike, just knowing the employees and your colleagues and what's going to actually resonate with them. I know even Regions, they have from a corporate level, they received like box seats, or somebody was like a Gator fan and they had like ongoing tickets that they could go. And so they offered up one weekend. And, you know, some other people had different benefits in their own personal lives, and they decided that they were going to help raffle that off. So instead of PTO, because not every business can do PTO as an incentive, they came up with some really great ideas and unique ways to be able to incentivize giving without having to do PTO.
And each of you are kind of heading up the campaign, but I'm sure in each of your organizations, you've got creative folks, you've got folks that want to be engaged, and maybe they're not able to donate, but they've got an idea or a thought that it will help further your campaign. So feel free to reach out to your employees and see what they think might help push this along. If we go to the next slide, again, COVID's the hot topic. Everybody's affected by it. We're trying to find different ways here of what we can do. How do we still raise money while being, you know, separate? 50-50 raffles, that's easy. That's something I give money, I have the potential to get something back. So the more that you can offer to employees, the better off, the more you're probably going to get and be able to raise. So 50-50 raffle, that's an easy thing. Get in $10, you pull a ticket, somebody gets $5, the city gets $5. We've raised thousands of dollars at a time just doing a 50-50 raffle. It sounds funny. We're looking at cow pasture bingo, basically put up a grid, and where does the cow go to the bathroom? And whoever has that number wins some money. But again, they're paying money for the opportunity to get something back, and you're also benefiting the United Way. We're looking at a golf tournament. It's outdoors. It's something that we can still, in this time, get together and do, and it goes towards a great cause, and it gets folks out and doing something that they would like to do anyway. So again, finding those creative and unique ideas that will work well within your organization. Next slide. And that's really the biggest part is employees are going to be willing to give. You've just got to find what it is, help them be more willing to donate to your campaign. So with that, that was all I had.
Thank you, Mike. Well, I know it's a pleasure working with the City of Ocala every year, and I appreciate you taking the time to share kind of some of the unique things that you guys do to raise Your goal this year is $85,000. That's quite impressive. And so they really do have engagement across the board, not only just from a pledge form perspective, but all of those other special events that they do. And they really do run best practices. So I appreciate you taking the time. Before we lose Mike, because I know Dawn is on the phone as well, because we can't do a group photo with everybody, can everybody just pop your beautiful faces on the screen for me really quick so I can take a screenshot of everybody on here to share, and just say thank you to you all online as well. So let me give one more second for a few more folks to pop on. There we are. And just making sure nobody's fallen asleep, really. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a screenshot. You have 3 seconds to jump on, smile big. Wait, hold on. I was looking goofy. One more second. Hold on. Okay. And file, save as. I'm trying to do a snippet, y'all, so 1 second. All right. Michael, thank you again so much for jumping on. We appreciate it so very much. All right, you guys are good to go back on. I'm gonna, oh, you're muted, Mike.
I'm sorry. I was trying to find the unmute button, but you're welcome.
Thank you. For sake of time, because I know we're running a little bit behind on where we wanted to be for Dawn, I'm going to let you speak now. So if we can actually kind of circle back to camping resources for Kirsten, because just segue into you, Dawn, one of our best resources is our funded partners. They are the ones that are really making use of this money all year long and being able to provide critical services to our community. And Dawn, what you all do at Kimberly Center is just absolutely phenomenal. And it speaks to me on a personal level what you all do, but I'm really grateful that you took the time to be here to share your mission and the way that you're transforming children's lives here in our community.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica, for inviting me to come and share about Kimberly Center. I appreciate our partnership with United Way so much. It's a long-standing partnership. I think it's probably one of the longest partnerships we have at Kimberly's. We've been serving kids in Marion County since a task force got started in 1996, and we've grown and evolved over the years. Kimberly Center, so the basics. We are a private nonprofit. We serve kids just in Marion County, and we serve them after allegations of some type of child abuse or child neglect, and sometimes just some other traumas that can happen during childhood. We tend to specialize a little bit with trauma recovery. So sometimes local law enforcement will reach out to us if they have a kiddo that had some other type of trauma, like maybe they witnessed a homicide or a pool drowning, something like that that's hard for a child, anybody really, so we can help those kids recover. As far as abuse and neglect goes, Marion County has higher rates than people usually tend to realize. Every year, Marion County has more than 4,000 reports of suspected abuse and neglect. And usually around half of those actually end up having some indicators or being verified by the state for meeting that kind of state definition of what is child abuse. Lots of those other cases are still concerning, and those families still need services, but they don't actually meet that state definition. At Kimberly's, we serve between 1,200 and 1,300 children every single year. And we serve them by providing some really specialized services. Lots of times people think the kids live here. They don't live at Kimberly Center. They come to us, they receive our specialized services, and then hopefully mom and dad are safe and appropriate and they can go back home with mom and dad. If that's not the case, then we work with our partners at DCF and local law enforcement to figure out what is safe for them. The types of services that we provide, we kind of divide it into a couple of different programs. So our investigations program is called our Child Protection Team. So we work really closely with local law enforcement and the Department of Children and Families where we're just trying to figure out what the heck has happened in this kid's life. Somebody's made an allegation of sexual abuse or physical abuse or neglect. And so part of our job is to help figure out from that child's perspective what has actually happened to them. So we do that through providing some forensic interviews, specialized interviews with parents, and then medical exams. So we actually have a family physician on staff with us and nurse practitioners, so we can actually do medical exams on children to document any physical findings that might be there related to their abuse or neglect. One of our other programs, and it probably our most long-standing program, is our Advocacy and Therapy program. So kids that come to Kimberly Center have sometimes experienced some of the most unimaginable things, but they are, many of them, remarkably capable of healing. They seem to just in some ways have this innate kind of resiliency to them, but they need help to get through that trauma. And that's what our therapy program does. So completely free, no cost to the child or to the family, no co-pays, no insurance billing, anything like that. Free therapy for children after the trauma. We have 4 master's level therapists who all of their training is in trauma recovery in children. And what they do all day, every day is help kids heal from the things that have happened to them. We do not approach therapy from the thought process that kids that have been traumatized need to be in therapy for the rest of their lives. They don't. And if you tell them that, they're not going to come because they don't want to commit to that for the rest of their lives. So we set goals, and then we work towards meeting those goals. A lot of what we work on with them is self-blame. A lot of our kiddos blame themselves for the things that adults or older children did to them. So we're working with them to help them not blame themselves and help them deal with triggers they might have about their abuse and help them just get to a healthy level of functioning. We have a unique component to our advocacy program where when children are being removed from their unsafe home by the Department of Children and Families and put into the foster care system, there's this gap of time that can be anywhere from 4 hours to 10 hours to 15 hours where kids are kind of in limbo. They're waiting for their foster bed to be identified. So those kids are actually brought to us at Kimberly Center, and our trauma-trained staff take care of those kids and meet their physical and emotional needs while they're going through the scary process of getting taken from their families and placed into foster care. It's another little unique component of what we do. And then something we added last year, thanks in large part to United Way's support, is our prevention initiative. So last year, and hopefully depending on how everything kind of looks with this school year, we are actually going into Marion County Public Schools and teaching the Child Safety Matters curriculum, which is a curriculum that teaches kids how to deal with and be safe from any type of abuse, digital dangers, and bullying. So it actually covers all of those things. We almost did every second grader in Marion County last year. COVID shutdown kind of kept us out of a couple schools, but we did get through most of the second graders in Marion County, and we're hoping to be able to grow that program even more next year, depending on everything that happens in the next couple of months. And we're also able to do adult trainings. So we can also teach adults 5 practical steps that we can all take to create safer environments for our kids. Our prevention program approaches child sexual abuse prevention from the perspective of we definitely need to teach our kids how to be safe and how to protect themselves, but it's really incumbent on the adults to make sure that we are putting kids in safe situations. And there are 5 easy steps that we can all implement to make sure that that's happening. Our partnership with United Way, like I said, it's been a long-standing partnership. We're so grateful for it. You guys have been a tremendous supporter of our therapy program, so it's really enabled us to serve thousands of children with that trauma therapy that they need to heal and move forward. And then also coming alongside the prevention initiative has been huge. Our decision to kind of get into doing prevention is from years of the board and the staff at Kimberly Center feeling like, you know, why does this keep happening? Why do people keep offending on children? And why do children put up with it for so long? And we really felt like we were being called to start doing something to stop it in the first place. And that's really what we're hoping we're going to achieve with this prevention initiative, is that all those second graders that we taught last year about how to be safe and what to do if something happens that makes them feel uncomfortable, maybe even if just one of them picks up on those red flags and speaks up and says something, maybe we are going to prevent that child from ever having to really come through our doors at Kimberly Center. And that's thanks to the support of United Way and some other local donors and our board of directors. And I talk really, really fast, apparently even on Zoom. So I just kind of went right through that. Jessica, anything that I missed, anything I should have said, any questions?
No, I just think, again, we are so grateful to have you here in our community. And I know that, family and children, they definitely need you here. And we're so proud to partner with you all on everything that you do. But I would just like to say that Dawn and her staff, along with all of our funded partners, are available to come out and co-present with us during your kickoffs. And so she definitely shared their mission and what they do. And when we try to kick off with you all, we try to give you testimonies of really the impact that your dollars are having, and to share how that's translating into transforming lives here in Marion County. So really putting a face to the dollars that you're impacting. And so just thank you so much, Dawn, for the time spending with us this afternoon. I also speak very, very fast, so I understand, but I just would open it up if anybody has any questions. If you have not toured the Kimberly Center, you definitely need to, and that's something that we can work into your kickoffs as well. We try to do, depending on COVID, every other year we do either 1 hour in person at every agency, and you get to tour and learn more in depth about all the programs and services that they offer. And then on the off years, we do like a bus tour, which we did this past year. So whatever you all are wanting to do, I know that from an individual perspective, they're always looking for donations as well. So that can be part of your drives or your volunteer efforts. And again, Kimberly's is just one example, but near and dear to my heart. So thank you so much, Dawn, for jumping on today and sharing everything with us.
Of course. Thanks for the invitation.
Of course. Well, thank you so much.
All right.
All right, so if we can if we can go back one slide, as part of resources and materials available to you, Kirsten will go through this, but of course our Speakers Bureau is one of the most impactful pieces that we can bring into and arrange with you all during your kickoffs. So I'll turn it back over to Kirsten to kind of go through everything else that's available to you besides the Speakers Bureau.
Alrighty, so I'm going to show you guys some stuff that you can order for your campaigns that really can, some of the stuff you need, but other things can really just help you have a more successful campaign. It gives information and tools you can use. Like Jess said, though, the campaign guide is your best tool to utilize. Some other things that we have are that, and I'll pull it up in my packet. We went over like the dollars that received total services for the entire United Way campaign, but we can customize this individually for your guys' companies. So this is something that is a great tool to use, and like I said, it'll be customized for your direct services and how that breaks down. All right, some other things are the brochures and posters we have. Here's one that we have, it's the Thermometer Bowl. So you can fill it up, keep filling it, put your goal right here, and it just shows you how close you're getting to reaching that goal. And then some other posters we have are our 211, which is great for putting up in break rooms in your HR areas. Again, this is the first call for help if it's not a 911 emergency. And another type of poster we have is just kind of tells you some little things, has the change doesn't happen alone, and it just, you can write announcements down here. So when are pledge forms due? When are you doing special events? When is your kickoff? You can order a couple of these if you want to just redo some, or you can also, some people have like gotten like white pieces of paper and just put them over each announcement after it has expired and put a new one up. That's an option. We have, Golden Order I went over. Caring Club, so this is something I will talk about in a little bit. This is for if anybody gives an undesignated gift of $156 or more, and this is a way that we give back, and then businesses in our community give back to you as well for donating. It gives you little discounts off. We have a bunch of little pamphlets and flyers, so the Vita program that we talked about. These are great to put on the break room and have in your HR department. 211, again, great pamphlets to have around. We also have magnets that you can order. And then some family-wise stuff and stuff on our leadership programs and Women United. So just little flyers that you can have as access for your employees to kind of learn more about the stuff and see if they really want to get involved. And then your campaign envelopes. This is what you guys fill out and what gets brought back to United Way. So this is what would have the pledge forms after you give the copies to your HR departments, and it would have any special event dollars. They would go in here. And this is also the thing that you do not want to drop in the mail. Please have myself or your ambassador or Jessica pick it up, or if you can drop it off, whatever, but please don't put it in the mail. We have some new hire brochures that you can order. This is something, so if you have a new hire, they can kind of gauge what United Way is about and what they could give to, and it just has some of the flyers we went over. The 211 has a pledge form, Caring Club information, that's in there. One thing that's super important that I want to go over is the pledge forms. So there's a couple things that are going to be new this year. So the top is going to be the same, their information. We can also fill these out with the name if your company would want that. And then it kind of makes it easier for you to keep track of whose you've received back and whose you have not. But anyway, so we're rolling out rollover this year. So you can, right under where it says like signature, there's going to be a line and it'll talk about if you sign above, you are allowing whatever company you work for to have your gift roll over for the following year. So it would be 2021, and then it would roll over for 2022. There'll be a little box if you want to allow people to have an opt-out option of rollover. Right next to where rollover will be, it'll just be a box you can check and it'll say opt-out. This is just gonna hopefully, yes, Jessica, I saw you unmuted. Go ahead.
Sorry. I will comment that not every company is doing rollover. That would have been determined with your CEO in that CEO call meeting. It's definitely something that so the first company, the largest company that we work with that is implementing rollover, that they started it last year kind of as our pilot, is Marion County Public Schools. And so that was a huge one for us to kind of work out the logistics of how we're going to handle this. And so if your company does decide to do rollover, to Kirsten's point, we will customize your pledge forms individually with that option. But of course, traditional United Way, handing out the pledge forms every single year is still an option.
Thanks, Jess. So yeah, so what Jess said, you don't have to have it on. But if you do opt in for rollover, and yes, we have a bunch of our CEO calls, we have already had that conversation, but that'll be on there. Then, as always, it allows you to, if you want to support education, financial stability, or health, whatever you're more passionate about. Obviously, the community care fund is what we would love for your dollars to go to, but some want to designate their donation to a certain agency. That you can do right down here. If they would like to designate to an agency, that's down here. But big thing on here is for incentives. So we can really customize this portion however your company sees fit. So like Cody said, for their company, if you give, I don't know what the amount is, Cody, but $3, we could put $3 and that's going to give you coffee for 2 months in the break room. I know for Salvation Army, we did their CEO call, and they give a paid day off to whomever gives to United Way. So we're going to actually probably just right on top of all of the boxes they can check, put with any donation you get, they call it a United Way Day. So that's going to be on theirs, but really any kind of incentives you guys can think of, you can get with us before your kickoff and we can customize it for each dollar amount. Obviously, we have like the Caring Club dollar amount, Emerging Leaders, which is a new program, which we'll talk about it, being a leadership donor. Those will all have different levels. But yeah, so any kind of thing you can think of incentive-wise, we can customize that for you. Jessica, anything on the front that I missed?
No, that's good.
Okay. And then just one thing to utilize on the back is the difference a dollar makes. So $1 per week for the price of $1 menu item each week, your gift can provide clean clothing and shoes to help 2 neglected children. So this is a great way to kind of show people what their dollars would be a week if they gave at each certain level. And then just a better way to give. Your donations stay local. Your donation is vetted, and donating is easy here in at the United Way of Marion County to give in a way that's meaningful for your employees. And then the Caring Club card, which I've covered a little bit and we'll cover at a later slide as well, is on there, information on that.
I want to share my screen in April. I am so sorry because I know this will, we didn't practice this during our dress rehearsal, but I want to show you what we've done for the city of Ocala. So when Kirsten's talking about customizing the pledge forms, this is what we did for the city. And so hopefully it's showing you the PDF. Kirsten, can you confirm?
Yes.
Okay. So under this section right here, so this top section, we pre-print all of their personal information for every single City of Ocala employee. They are doing rollover this year. So this is that section that Kirsten talked about where there's like a little disclaimer that if you sign above, you're authorizing City of Ocala to roll over your gift, and then the opt out, and that's how we determine who is not required to fill out a pledge form the following year. Down here, this is where we customize the City of Ocala based on their giving level. So we already talk about for them, the Caring Club, they are paid on a bi-weekly pay period, so 26 pay periods. So to qualify for the Caring Club, it's $3 a week, but it's $6 out of your paycheck. So this is where we have already pre-printed this on all of the pledge forms. But next to the certain giving levels is their PTO. They do a raffle. So it's not an automatic, you're going to get 3 hours of PTO if you give a leadership gift. It's you're entered to win 3 times into the raffle for 8 hours of PTO. What we also decided to do on the back, so Kirsten was talking about, you know, just why United Way, you know, we're trusted, our agencies are vetted, donating is easy through payroll deduction, the difference your dollar makes here on the back. We can customize any of this for you guys. Next to the Caring Club, this normally takes up this whole section, but the City of Ocala had additional, like, incentives, I guess, for specific things. So if they had a department 100% participation, there was 1 chance for 8 hours of PTO. If they were a first-time donor, they automatically get 1 hour of PTO. And if they turn in their form the day of the meeting, 1 chance for 4 hours of PTO per person turned in. So that was a way that we were able to customize their pledge forms a little bit more. And so whatever level you're wanting us to do, because we're just not pre-printing thousands of pledge forms like we normally do, we're printing by company based on your needs. So just keep that in mind. And that your ambassadors, when you do meet with them, to kind of just explain what you're looking for, and we can help make that happen.
Awesome. And to order these materials, you can do it online on our website, and that is uwmc, make sure I don't get it wrong, .org/workplace-resources. And there you can put what you need, quantities, and then you send it, and we, April, who's on here as well, she receives that, and then we will get that stuff put together for you when the time comes for your campaign, and you guys can either pick it up or your ambassador can drop it off, or myself or Jessica, but that's how that kind of works, and it really makes it easy for you guys to choose what you want and the quantities you need for your company specifically.
Yeah, and also because I know Crystal's on here with what is now Truist, so I'm glad to see you, Crystal, and glad that you were able to jump on today. But they're an interesting account where it's built into their giving, where they have like an electronic platform, at least BB&T did. And so if your company does not require pledge forms, but folks do qualify for the Caring Club level in particular. If they want that benefit, we need to order additional Caring Club. They're like a little rat card where they'll put their personal information if they give at that $3 a week or more. So just keep that in mind, that if you do not utilize our pledge forms for whatever reason, that if you do want to take advantage of that benefit, that would be something additional that you would need to order, and make sure that's being communicated to your ambassador or on the portal online.
All right, and then Jessica, if you wanna, that's all I think I have in here to go over. Is there anything I missed?
No, that's it. Really, I think the table tents would be the only thing that kind of sit on break room tables, but all of it's very easy to order. It's spelled out on the online portal. I think most of you used that last year, but when you go to that workplace resources tab in our website, it's very obvious. It says order materials here. You'll click that and it'll take you to a little form that you can fill out. I would just say, give yourself, if you know that you're going to kick off in 2 weeks, you need to order today. Give us a couple of weeks, because we work with 84 different companies here in Ocala and Marion County. And so we want to make sure that we're getting everything to you in a timely manner, especially if you need it early to assemble packets, or if you want to have it ready to go during kickoff, like laid out on the tables, that you're not waiting for the ambassador to bring it to you, that you give us a delivery date.
Alrighty, next slide, April. Or yeah, next again, sorry. Thank you. So this is a way, these are programs that when people give at certain levels, they can receive these benefits. So it's almost like they're giving but receiving, and everybody loves that. So the Caring Club, which we've kind of talked about a little bit, that is our card that is for a undesignated $156 or more a year. So that's at the $3 a week level. And this is just different locations around Marion County that give a percentage off of their services or whatever they handle or specialize in to United Way donors. So I know some of them are like Papa John's Pizza, that's 20% off every time you go. Mojo's, there's car places, eyeglass places. So just little ways to say thank you for giving. And in a lot of ways, if you utilize your card, which is an app now, so it makes it a lot easier, you can really gain your money back over a year times. So it really is a good thing to make sure that your employees know about it. And like Jessica said, this is what they fill out. So that they can download the app, and then they will, all the information, I think, so they'll be sent information about it as well to remind them to get that app downloaded on their phone. The Eclipse Club is our leadership club. So this is that 1,000 or more a year. And this is a way we do a leadership luncheon every other year. So this year we actually have it. Don't know how it's going to look, but that's a way to thank our leadership donors that give at that 1,000 level or more. And they also get recognized in our leadership booklet. And I think they get like a special like little thing sent to them, correct, Jessica? Like a shirt or something, recognizing them for being a leadership donor. Underneath of that is the new program we're rolling out, which we're super excited about, and that's our Emerging Leaders Program. So this is for any individual that is giving $250 or more a year. And hopefully, if you are giving $250 or more, you will be encouraged to do the Step Up program for this, which is in like a 4-year time span that you would move up to that leadership level of 1,000. And this is a way to have networking opportunities, skill building, volunteering, advocating. This group is actually, we've created a council for it, and they are going to create a mission, and they're going to choose a focus area, one of our focus areas, to kind of narrow down and use the matrices sheet that the vision councils use. And they're going to find an area that they want to focus on. They're going to be given $10,000, and then within one of our agencies, or any agency they choose, that falls in that mission and matrices that they're focusing on for a 3 to 5 year span. But they're going to give $10,000 to that agency, and they're going to advocate and volunteer with that agency, but also just within that focus area for the year, and then hopefully fundraise $10,000 more for the following year to give out to an agency again, and just keep kind of repeating the same steps. But this is going to be a great way to really get out and network and, you know, meet other Marion County, you know, younger emerging leaders really that are kind of stepping up in our community. So that'll be a really good thing to kind of allow your associates to know about this year if they are giving at that level, or it might encourage them to give at that level so they can take advantage of some of those things. The last one is our Women United. This is where any woman, or if it's a couple, so if like a husband and wife give 500 and 500 together, they're a leadership, and that wife or woman could be part of Women United. So it's $1,000 or more. And they do the Blingo event that Jessica talked about. They have the lip sync, and they raise their funds for Reading House. So that is their big thing. That's their what they contribute a lot to. And that's, again, a way to network and kind of meet other women around Marion County. Jessica, did I miss anything?
No, but just to reiterate, for the emerging leaders, it's anything under 40, giving $250.
Forget that. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. And so there's going to be a lot of opportunities for networking. We're doing quarterly, well, there'll be monthly events. Every quarter, you will have one volunteer project, one networking opportunity, and one leadership or professional development workshop. And so this is really geared towards the younger philanthropists, really encouraging them to step up as our current leadership ages out and leaves the workforce, and really just kind of cultivate that population as they grow within their professions, and really providing that networking opportunity. So something that we'll be talking about during kickoffs and encouraging people to give that are under 40 at that level. Step up is not required, it is encouraged, but if somebody does opt into the Step Up program, so let's say that they are currently giving $500 a year, it's a Step Up program with a $250 a year increment increase, and so next year they would give $750, the following year they would be at the $1,000 level. But the day that they sign on into that Step Up program and are pledging a 2 to 3 year period, they receive all the same benefits as the Eclipse Club, because they're pledging that they will in 2 to 3 years time be at that level. And so they will be listed as an emerging leader in the leadership giving booklet. They will be invited to all the networking events, the leadership appreciation event that's held biannually in January, as Kirsten mentioned. So something to keep in mind. They will also be invited to join Women United if they do identify as a female. And so something, if you have anybody that's tapped, that's up and coming into the leadership roles in your organization, something to discuss with them.
All right, next slide, April.
Just super quick, I'm sorry. On the Women United, another way of joining if you do not reach the Eclipse Club level is you can pay the $125 dues. So I just wanted to kind of jump in and let you know that.
No, thank you.
Thank you, April. And that would be either if you're not a current donor of United Way, or in addition to your gift, it is a gift specifically to Women United. Thank you, April.
Also, before I reach the other slides, we have in your packet that we send out to you guys our partner of choice page. So this is a way that we really want to be engaging with you throughout the year. So with leadership and volunteerism, networking, meeting your corporate social responsibilities. So, you know, helping you guys with cause marketing. We really want to be the person you guys call to and be a resource for your companies throughout the year. On the back, I know we talk a lot about giving, but it's also, you know, ways to advocate and volunteer. So just know that, you know, we're here for you and you guys can lean on us, not only for campaign time, but the entire year. And also we have our small business program, that flyer's in there as well. That's getting rolled out, and that is for companies that are 50 employees or under. And that's just a way to, they'll get special things throughout the year, different ways to network and kind of help their small business out with any marketing and skill building things for their employees. So that's something we're rolling out this year as well. All right, so some things we've already covered. I'm kind of gonna go through this one quickly. 211 again. So these are things that we really want your employees to know about. So this is really something to talk about during your kickoffs. 211, making sure that they know that it's there for them if they need it. It's, you know, somewhere to call when they need help, and it's not that 911 emergency. Our Vita program, you know, why are your employees paying for taxes when we have this program right there for them to utilize during tax time? You know, let them keep that 30, 40 bucks, however much it is to get their taxes done in their pockets, and have United Way do it for them. Volunteer opportunities. So our Reading Pals, again, if somebody comes up to you and they're like, I really can't give money, but I want to help. Well, how can I help? This is a great way. Volunteer, become a Reading Pal. We always are looking for them. We want to try to help as many, you know, young children as possible with early literacy. So that's a really great option for them to choose if they can't donate dollars. Strong families, make sure that your HR department knows and anybody knows that they can utilize this program for themselves, or if they know anybody. We are in recruitment still. So through, I think, the end of the month, we're still looking for families to get involved with this. So if, like I said, if you know anybody, if you work with anybody you think could benefit from this, if it's not an awkward conversation to bring up, it might be something to help them out, and they could really benefit from that program. And then our United Way Day of Caring. So this is a great thing. It's February 27th this year, or 2021 next year. But this is a great way to get like a corporate team made, and you can come and you help out in some area in Marion County. Last year we did it 3 big projects, and we partnered with the city, Marion County, and Marion County Public Schools, and we had about 500 or so volunteers. And we did like a lot of landscaping work and just cleaning up, you know, different areas. We did it at, oh, I'm blanking on what school.
College Park Elementary.
I remembered. Yeah, College Park. And then at the fort, off Fort King, and then we did it at Baseline Trailhead. We did a bunch of, cleaned up a bunch of the trailheads and everything. So it's just a fun way to get your company out there and associates, and you guys can volunteer together, and it's really, you benefit from that. You're, you know, have employee engagement in that, and you're really building the morale of your team. So it's a nice opportunity if you guys want to take advantage of that as well. All right, next slide. All right, so another thing we're rolling out this year is a Facebook page for ECCs. We encourage all of you to join it as soon as possible. So when we get off this call, you could go and join it. This is going to be where we can see, you can post photos of what you're doing. You guys can communicate with each other. You know, maybe something's working really well for you, so you could share that. You can see what other places are doing, and you can learn from them. You guys can just talk to each other and bounce ideas. We can use this to brag on you guys or about you guys in our newsletter or on our social media platforms. So it's really going to be a really good tool for you guys to use this year to really make sure you have a successful campaign. And then we're also going to roll out the Toolbox Tuesdays. So that's going to be where you're going to get emails of little snippets from the campaign guide and little like collateral and posters and things you can really use around. You can print them out and hang them up. You can print them out and hand them out. It'll be a really nice way to make sure that you have all the tools you need for a successful campaign and to really educate your employees and associates on what United Way is and what we're doing.
And with that Toolbox Tuesday, it will also make it easy for you guys to copy and paste through that 10 days of email. Obviously that's available to you, but we have more of that kind of stuff that we'll be rolling out. And it just really makes it easy and keeps it top of mind for you. But the platform on Facebook that we're rolling out as a group, that, you know, outside of this one day a year, there really isn't another opportunity for you all as ECCs to kind of come together, share best practices, get creative with each other, and network. And so this is an opportunity that we wanted to provide to you all. So highly encourage you to join. And also it makes it easy for us to share whatever you're posting on this platform and share it in our e-newsletters to all of our donors. That goes out to over 10,000 people. So it's good branding for your business as well. And then also to our other platforms, not only Facebook, but Instagram and Twitter as well. And that way we can kind of, it makes sharing easy, and it allows us to, like Kirsten said, to brag about the awesome work that you all are doing. You really are the heroes behind the scenes making this happen, hence the little header that I had made on the platform. But you guys, you know, it's no pressure. I know I joke about this every year, but the success of the campaign really falls on our ambassadors, our volunteer ambassadors, and the ECCs working within the campaign. And so we want to make sure that we're providing you with easy content that you can share, making your world a little bit easier, because we know that we could not do this without you. So thank you.
That's fine. Thank you, Taylor, for joining us.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. All right, next slide, please. All right, so just to real quick, please follow us online on all our social platforms. Tag us, use the hashtags. Yeah, please, just anything you see, you can share things that we post. That's always nice. But yeah, please follow us on all our platforms. Next slide. All right, so Jessica kind of already like talked about it. You guys are the, you know, boots on the ground, really making the campaigns what they are. Just know that we're here for you guys. Lean on us. We're here to use as a resource as well as your ambassadors. You're not in it alone. And we thank you guys for stepping up and doing this for your company and for the United Way of Marion County and for Marion County, the community. So thank you. I think now we're going to, unless Jessica has anything else to add, she's going to kind of discuss how we're going to do breakouts.
Yep. So the majority of you will go into the breakout room with Kirsten. I know that Cody jumped off, I think. And Dave, I had to move you into Kirsten's room because Sky had to jump off as well. But Jennifer and Wendy, you guys will go into your own breakout session. For you, Wendy, Jennifer will be your ambassador, your volunteer ambassador this year. So it's just a chance for you guys to get to know each other. And then when you're done, we'll move you into the full breakout room where we're just going to share best practices, any ideas that you all have, and really just start to work on sharing your ideas for your campaign. I would encourage you guys to join us with video. It's a little bit easier to have like a conversation with a face if you are able to do that. So I'll go ahead and break you all out. For Wendy and Jennifer, I'll give you guys about 5 minutes to work together, and then I'll move you into the main group where we're just going to open it up, and then I need to break them up into smaller groups after that as well. So I'll go ahead. It should give you the option to join your breakout session here. Text message, tab on the message. So go ahead and join your respective breakout rooms.